Hello and welcome to our next video in the Byte Pro Basics series. In this video we'll discuss the GFE Page 2 and fee worksheet screens. We'll explore their basic layout as well as discuss their functionality, and also show you how to enter and manage your fees within Byte Pro. So let's jump into the program and take a look around. Okay, so here we are on the GFE Page 2 screen in Byte Pro. As you can see, I got a nice clean estimate here, and I've already gone ahead and entered all my loan information on page 1. So now I'm ready to go ahead and enter all my fees. There's a couple different ways that you can do that. You can click through or tab through the various fields and enter all of your fees manually, but that can be kind of tedious. One of the handy tools that we've got is the ability to create closing cost estimate default sets, and those are right here in this drop-down. Now you can create these default sets based on whatever parameters you want, whether you want to create them for particular types of loans or whatever. So let's say you want to create a conventional set, a VA set, an FHA set. You can set them up however you like. And I go into greater detail in the video on the defaults for the good faith estimate and show you exactly how to create these templates. Let's go ahead and create and apply one of the ones I've already created. And you can see what happens is all of these fees will now show up in the estimate section. Now you can go through and click on the individual estimates and populate them that way. Or if you just want to go ahead and bring all of them across, because you can see I've got them down here for my other fees as well, you can just click on the copy estimates button and they'll all be populated across. And you can see they're all now over here in my active column, and they're showing us my active fees on my GFE. Now let's just go through the different sections. We'll start up at the top with the lender to broker compensation and lender credit. Now which one of these lines that you're going to use is dependent upon where that credit is going. So if you're getting a credit from the lender that is going to your originator, you're going to put that up here. And you can enter it as either a percentage or a flat fee. Say we're getting 1% back. We'll go ahead and compute that. And then what it will do is it will add that originator compensation up here in block 1. And then credit it back to the borrower in block 2, so the net effect on your origination charge is 0, since that compensation will be coming directly from the lender and going to the originator. Now let's go ahead and take that out. Now let's say that we're getting a credit from the lender that is going to go to the borrower. That would be entered right here. Let's say we're getting that same 1%. You don't see anything show up in block 1 because it's going straight to the borrower. And you can see the credit right here to the borrower and the adjustment to our origination charge down below. Also, you want to leave this checkbox checked, because what that will do is that will add that credit to your details of transaction. As you can see, that lender credit is now showing up on our details of transaction the way that it should be. Let's take this out. Now we go down to block 1. This is our origination charges. So you can see our 1 point origination fee that we're charging on this loan, processing fee, underwriting fee, some open fields if you need to add any of your own. Section 2 is going to be your credits. Section 3 is going to be your required services that we select, meaning your appraisal fee, credit report fee, tax service fee, and anything else you want to put in. You see I put a flood cert in here. Now further, you got your title fees. So I've got my settlement fee in here. You can put in your abstracts, notary fees, attorney fees. Your title insurance is right here. Enter any additional ones that are left off. Owner's title insurance, you can put in right here. You've got your required services you can shop for, so things like your survey fee or pest inspection, a couple of open fields if you need to enter something else, your recording charges, and your transfer taxes. Let's go down to our escrow section. This is where you're going to enter your prepaids. You want to be sure and put your important dates in, so let's go ahead and put our close date in. Put it in as the 31st. Now I can manually enter that date, or I can use the calendar. Let's just, for argument's sake, let's say that our fund date's going to be the same as our close date. And you're going to see this red flag, and basically what that tells you is that based on your funding date, your first payment date should be September 1st. Now if you're okay with that, go ahead and click the fill button and it'll add it for you, or you can type it in or use the calendar if you want to set it as well. Now we move down to our prepaid. So we've got our insurance, our homeowners insurance, our property taxes, our association dues, and so on and so forth. You can see so there are some estimates over here that have been created. Those are based on defaults that I have set up. So basically what it's doing is taking a defaulted percentage of the appraised value and putting it in here as my estimate. And I show you how to set that up in the defaults video as well, so be sure and check that out. Now, if you want to go ahead and use that number, you can just click on it and it will populate it across. You can set your disbursement schedule, whether you want it to be annually, monthly, quarterly, or other. You can go ahead and put that in here. Your start date and year. And then based on that information and my first payment date, it's going to go ahead and calculate the number of months that I'm going to need. Let's do the same for our property taxes. And we'll go ahead and put those in there as well. Same thing, you got your disbursement schedule in your starting month. I've got it set on April and semi-annually because I'm here in Washington State and we collect our taxes in April and October. One important note that you want to remember is if you are doing a loan that does not have an escrow account, so in other words, they're going to be paying it on their own, you want to be sure and change this disbursement to not escrowed. Oops, not escrowed. Do that for both of them. Throughout the program, there's a couple other drop downs where it will talk about escrows, and you can put in that they are waiving both or waiving one or the other. Those are purely informational drop downs. The only way that you're going to get your GFE correct as far as escrows are concerned is if you switch these to not escrowed. So be sure and change these to not escrowed. And of course, remove your amounts collected over here as well. But for information, let's just go ahead and put them back. Oops. I want other, I want annually, and we want semi-annually. And there we go. It shows our prepaids being collected. Our daily interest amount is going to be computed based on our interest rate and our loan amount. And you'll see another informational box that'll tell you based on your close date of the 31st, you should be collecting 1 day of interest. Once again, if you're okay with that, go ahead and click on the fill button and it'll put it in there for you, or you can enter it manually. Homeowners insurance section down here, this is where you're going to populate it if you are doing a refinance and the insurance is due and you need to collect the full year. You can put that here, put in the 12 months. Same thing on a purchase, is if they're paying that first year up front, you can go ahead and put that in here as well. All your total sections. And down below, you're going to see fees not included on the GFE. Where you're going to use this is, let's say your borrower is purchasing a home warranty, something else along those lines. It's a fee that you want to show up on the HUD, but you do not want it to show up on the GFE. You can enter that right here. Section down at the bottom, for the most part, this is informational and does not print on your 2010 GFE. Where you're going to use this section is if you have a bulk credit coming from your seller and you want to enter that. So what I can do is put right here, let's say I want to put paid by seller, $5,000, say OK, and it'll go ahead and show that in my computation field, but you can see my numbers, my totals up here haven't changed. Where that number is going to show up is if you go ahead and you print, and on your closing cost worksheet, you're going to see that $5,000 credit appear there. On your initial fees worksheet, it's going to appear there as well. So if you're using these ahead of time and you just want to show a bulk credit, you can show it there. And the reason that doesn't show up on the 2010 GFE is because the HUD does not like bulk credits. It wants you to itemize. Now the way that you would itemize that credit is you would go up and you can click on the seller itemization and turn it on. It's going to tell you that the amount paid by the seller must be allocated towards individual fees. You're going to say OK. And you can set all of those to either being paid by the seller or paid by the lender. Let's just go ahead and leave them the way they are. And then now you can see there's a new column that's opened up in the middle, and that's where we can itemize our fees. And it's going to be either paid by seller, that is the S, or it's going to be paid by lender if it's an L showing. We want to go ahead and allocate this fee to the seller. What you do is just go ahead and cut it and paste it over to this side. Or just delete it and re-enter it over on the seller side. And that way we've covered all of our itemized fees that are being paid by the seller. Let's say we also have fees that are being covered by the lender. So like in this example, let's say that our lender is paying our appraisal fee. Right now you can see it's showing as paid by the seller, so we need to change that. The way that you would do that is just click on Edit, go over to our drop-down here, it says Paid By, change it to Lender. As you can see right now, we got that fee on the borrower side, so we got to get it out of there. Move it down to the new lender box that we just changed, and then say OK. And as you can see, now my appraisal fee has been moved over and is showing as paid by lender. One other important note, and one thing you want to do is anytime that you have itemized fees that are being paid by the lender, you need to be sure and go up and click on the no cost loan button and turn it to yes. Even if the lender is only paying a portion of the fees and not all the fees, you need to be sure and change this to yes. Why that is in order for those lender paid fees to show up properly on your GFE, you need them to show here in block 2, and turning that to yes will make it do that. So now you've got that $750 that's being paid by the lender showing up right here, and it will appropriately show up in our details of transaction as well. You can see the lender credit of $750 is now there. So anytime you have lender paid fees that you're itemizing, change the no cost loan button to yes. Now let's say we've got our GFE all ready and we're ready to deliver to our borrower. You can go ahead and click on the GFE delivered button and change it to deliver to borrower. And what this does is this locks down all of our fees on the right-hand side. Since our GFE has been delivered, we don't want to be changing any of those because then it would require us to document a changed circumstance. So let's say we do have a changed circumstance. Let's say for some reason our settlement fee is going up because there were a bunch of liens that we had to clear off the title and our escrow company did that for us, so they charged us a little bit extra to do that. So let's say our settlement fee has gone from $450 and is now up to $750. Now what you're going to see is that our active fee did not change. And that's because we had locked all of those fees down when we delivered the GFE. So what we have to do is we have to update that. And when you update it, it'll go ahead and it'll open up our changed circumstance window. And it'll show you that our settlement fee changed from $450 to $750. And what you need to do is enter your justification for that. You can click on the fill change details, and what it'll do is it'll date it, give you the fee that you changed, and tell you what it changed from and to. And then you can just type in your reason. So let's see. Additional title work needed to clear liens. Then just say OK, and there you go, you've documented your changed circumstance. Where that's going to show up is when you go to print. You've got your changed circumstances. And here's your changed circumstance record. It shows that changed circumstance that we just entered, and it's listed right there. And if you need to redisclose for any reason, your GFE has now been changed, and you can see that the fee is now showing as the corrected active fee that we changed it to, from the $450 that we started with over to the active $750. Another box that I like to show, or another screen actually that I like to show, is our fee worksheet. And basically what the fee worksheet is it's a combination of the old GFE Page 2 closing cost screen and the GFE Page 3 prepaid screen. A lot of people still like to use this to organize your fees. It's just a little bit more linear, cleaner way to organize your fees. And as you can see, all the information that we entered from the GFE Page 2 screen has auto-populated over here. Anything that we change here will auto-populate back over to the 2010 GFE, and they'll go back and forth. Going down lower, you can see that we've got all of our prepaids down here at the bottom as well as our different summary fields. And when you print from the fee worksheet, it's going to print directly to either the closing cost worksheet or the initial fee worksheet. The initial fee worksheet, you can see, looks like the old GFE. And you can still use these if you're in your preliminary stages, but we have the disclaimer up at the top saying that this is not a good faith estimate disclosure that is required. And you can change this wording on both the top and the bottom as well. And we show you how to do that in the defaults video, so check that out. It's purely up to you which one of these forms you want to use, or if you want to use them at all. All right, that concludes our video on the GFE Page 2 screen. If you ever need more information, you can always go up to our help section and go to our help guide. We've got an entire section on completing the 2010 GFE, and this has all this information that I've covered today. If you can't find your answer in here quickly, always be sure you can call our technical support department at 1-800-695-1008. They're open Monday through Friday from 6:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can also email support by clicking on this link right here, which will open up an email window that goes directly to our support department, which is support@bytesoftware.com, and just enter the description of your problem down below here. And if you're calling in, always be sure and include your user number because that will help expedite your service. Thank you for your time, and thank you for using Byte Pro.